But I don't have any of these problems in my life. And if you're a dude at home and you're watching this and you go, I want my woman to submit, and she doesn't, guess what? She doesn't respect you. And guess whose fault that is a lot of the time? Your fault. That is your fault as a man. It is.
Yes.
No, it is.
Yes.
No.
That's what you guys need to damn hear. Tell him, please.
But it's not about blaming men and women, because everyone has a problem. But then there's also men who are worthy of respect who women refuse to respect because of society.
Tell the sisters
so there's two sides to it, right? But a lot of it is, if you're a capable enough man and you're brilliant enough, then the female has no choice. But it's very interesting. This goes back into a point I made earlier about how important it is for us men to find women who we don't believe have had a lot of life experience. If you find a woman who's younger and been through less things, less trauma, less relationships, less headache, she's lived less life, your ideals, if you ask any woman who loves her man, what's your favorite song? His favorite song. Who do you vote for? Who he votes for. What's your favorite car? His car. That's how it happens when a woman loves a man. And that makes the man feel good, right? If she's been through too much shit, then that's a lot harder to pull off.
So he's talking about the importance for the girl to be somewhat impressionable, not having had too many life experiences, because he wants to be the portal for that girl to experience life.
I think for women, it's not like they choose to be heavily traumatized or experience so many things. I think everything should be done in a balanced way. You think about it before you do it.
Yeah, so I mean, I tend to agree with what he's saying, like with some exceptions about, I don't expect the girl to like agree with everything that the guy wants, and if the guy likes a certain car, that she has to like that certain car. I think there's plenty of room for independent thought there. He's saying it that way and with the extreme just to illustrate the theoretical point. But I can read between the lines there. But I can also understand how other people who don't read with that kind of perceptibility will just jump to conclusion and just kind of write him off. His comment about the guy being the portal of the girl's experience in the world, I do see that. So even when I'm sharing a clip from social media to you, and I'm saying, hey, check out this cat video, or check out this, this Instagram reel or YouTube short, and you're like, oh yeah, I already saw it, and I'm like, what have you not seen? I mean, I'm here doing work, and then I find the one clip that's viral that I thought I could kind of make your day with, and then you've already experienced it all. Yeah, he talks about more extreme topics, like sexual experience and world experience, but even something as simple as, hey, I found some cool viral clip. I can't even experience that with you because you've consumed everything that's worth consuming on the internet. So when he says the guy wants to be the portal, yes, I do want to be, even though I don't spend any time on social media, I do want to be the portal for you when it's a shared experience. It's like I found something that I think,
well, it's like Netflix too.
Yeah, same thing with Netflix. Something just came out. Let's watch it together. I've seen it already. well, I'm no longer the portal of the world. So in a way, it's damaging to a guy's ego. So I get that point.
So then, but what if I recommend something for us to watch? It's not the same. I mean,
if you recommend something, then then I could be like, yeah, open to watching it. But is it? Well, that's the thing. Is it important for you in terms? If I say I've already seen it, then are you kind of bummer, just move on, or is oh darn, how does it impact the female psyche?
I guess a little, but if it's a really good movie and you don't mind watching it again, I wouldn't mind watching it with you.
Yeah, so it seems like it doesn't bother you as much.
No,
right?
Not really.
But for a guy, it bothers me a little bit.
Really?
Even if you have seen it, it's
then I shouldn't tell you.
It's almost like it's in your interest if you're trying to rub my ego to lie and be like, oh yeah, that's really, and not even admit that you've seen it. And if you and when you watch it, actually pay attention. Don't fall asleep, because once you fall asleep, then I know that you've seen it before. So there's a little bit of acting going on if in the event you want to please your guy. Of course, if you don't want to please your guy, you want to be tell the truth.
What if the people
pick your battle?
What's it called? What if you're a bad liar?
Well, if you're a bad liar,
people who are bad liars.
Yeah, people who are bad liars won't get far in life. I mean, it's.
Well, but that's a majority of people.
No, a lot of people, a lot of children are very good at lying to their parents, and it's not done with a malevolent intent, but it's done to kind of, protect themselves. And like I would argue, like, as long as you're not cheating, stealing, killing, like any of those, like major lying things, if you're doing a simple innocent kind of lie about like you haven't seen this before, I when you weigh the pros and the pros outweigh the con if you prioritize the relationship. So if you value the relationship and you value that over what actually happened, and therefore choose the behavior of lying, I would say it could be okay, and it may further the girl's interest if they're trying to get with the guy. So that
what if you have the guy and then you've experienced a lot by yourself, and I guess because you're telling me like that I should lie or
no, I'm not telling you should lie. I'm just saying if a girl,
go along with it, you mean?
Yeah, like if a girl's trying to has a goal in mind, and is it worth telling a white little lie?
Should that happen as well for when you're in relationships as well?
Well, it's a judgment call, and so that's what I'm saying. You pick and choose your battles. Like if you're in the state where you're not trying to win over the guy, sound like someone like this lady, it may not be that worth it. But if literally everything I send over to you've seen before, I mean, you might take that into account and say, you know what, maybe I'm consuming too much social media. Maybe I can back off.
Well, that's why I'm producing the social media now instead, the flip of the coin to balance it out.
Right. So it gives you some feedback that, hey, you know what, maybe I should dial it back. That way we can help. That way I prioritize a relationship, and I deprioritize consuming so much social media content to the point that it potentially, hurts. Of course, this doesn't really hurt the relationship, but it doesn't help it. And so if you're in a position where you want to help the relationship, maybe you can dial down that consumption. And same thing, if you've traveled the world, you've been to like 100 different countries.
What probably happens is it becomes a habit, right? Just like traveling. People love to travel. It becomes a habit or an addiction. So it's like, how do you stop that from happening when you want to pursue a guy?
I would say stop it from happening, but be mindful and be very selective about who you share these life experiences with. Because when you have too many life experiences, when that right guy comes along and you can't share that experience with him, or you've done everything already, it makes you that much less attractive. Now, it doesn't sound great, but this is just the reality of how humans, at least guys operate their minds and the ego and psyche. So it's more important to understand what the consequences might be.